This is Mr. Obvious, bringing you the obvious, and today on Twitter and China.com. So, here we see William Yang says, the most Chinese story today. A man in Guangxi paid $2 million to have a competitor killed. The guy kept half, hired another for $1 million. Then another, until the fifth was hired for $100K. Figuring not worth to kill for so little, he contacted the target trying to fake a death. All 6 in jail now. This is hilarious. And it's so hilarious for so many reasons. So in China, people are lazy, people are corrupt. I've criticized China before and for good reason. You see, in a Chinese society, if you pay someone $1 million to build a beautiful house, they'll be greedy. They'll pocket half the money and they'll outsource it for cheap. And then they might pocket some money and outsource that too. So you end up with a shitty house. That is the Chinese way. That is the Chinese mentality. So when this guy paid a hitman $2 million to get someone killed, he greedily kept half and paid another hitman $1 million. Not such a big deal. But then it kept happening until it was down to 100,000 K, and the hitman was like, dude, this ain't enough money. So he tried to make a deal with the victim. Hey, I got paid 100K to take you out. How about you fake your death, and then I get 50K and you get 50K. Sounds good, right? Deal? China. The Chinese. Now, believe it or not, I do have the source of this story, and I have it translated, so we're going to check it out. But before that, a quick word from our sponsors. First, we have unsilencedvoice.com. It's a social media website where you can go and get all sorts of dank content and memes. It's super easy to use. Be sure to sign up. Join unsilencedvoice.com. The link is in the description at the tippy top. I also have a referral link for Virtue Signal, the card game. It's a funny card game parodying social justice, and it actually looks kind of fun. There are multiple mechanics, layers of mechanics. It's actually a little bit complex. It's funny. So be sure to check out their page. I'll leave a referral link down in the description at the tippy top. Now here we go. This is a classic tale of Chinesery. Now here we have the original page, and I ran it through Google Translate. It didn't work, so I used Bing Translator, and it did work. It doesn't have the images, but we can look at the images. We can go back and forth. No biggie. So here we go. 2 million hired murderers by middlemen. Earn the difference. Turn hands 4 times after the end is too magical. So I don't speak Moon Rune. I don't speak Elvish, but I will attempt to say what they're trying to say in common tongue. $2 million hired a bunch of murderers, but they were put through middleman so many times. 4 times, in fact. And the end result was ironic justice. How'd I do? 4 years ago, Nanning, a real estate company boss, Mr. Wei, was paid 2 million yuan to hire murder hitman. This single assassination business was charged 4 times, finally revealed. On the morning of October 17th, 2019, the Nanning Intermediate People's Court of Guangxi City issued a final judgment on the case. Now here's a picture, and as you can see, these are the 6 men arrested. And they were all arrested for this hitman gig. 1 time it changed hand, 2 time it changed hand, 3, 4. So yeah, these are the prisoners, and yeah, there you go. They literally outsourced the job so many times, they all ended up in jail. It's hilarious. So here's a little infograph that makes it pretty simple. We started at 200, whatever that says. Then it was 100. Then it was 27. Then it was 20. Then it was 10. You see how it moved down the line from a huge amount to a small amount? That's basically what happened. And then the guy got so upset, he was like, dude, let's just fake the death and we'll split it. How lazy, how corrupt is China? This is the mentality. Nah, I don't feel like killing this guy for 100 yuan. Let's split it, dude. No effort involved. They're taking laziness to a whole new level. So yeah, he thought that 100,000 yuan was too little. Only in China could something like this happen. It's hilarious. So, okay, the defendant in the trial was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment in intentional homicide. The defendant of the original trial, Yu Yuhi, was sentenced to 3 years and 6 months imprisonment, and the original trial defendant, Yang Kengxing and Yang Gangsheng, were sentenced to 3 years and 3 months imprisonment. Sentence the original trial defendant, Mo Zhengjing, to 3 years imprisonment. Sentence the original trial defendant, Ling Zhang, for 4 years to 2 years and 7 months imprisonment. So honestly, not that bad. I can see why China's so corrupt. If you can be a hitman professionally and only go to jail for a few years, maybe shorter, for good behavior, why not? It's good money, right? China is... It's like a parody world, you know? China. Let's look at the comment section. I'm sure the English will be much better. So here Paul Atkins says, when I lived in Beijing, I used to get SMS messages offering kneecapping, intimidation, and even murder. Prices varied to RMB 50,000. William Wang says, that's probably the sixth guy. Patrick Chauvinic replies, just remember, Paul, you get what you pay for. Sarah Straw says, apparently you don't, judging by this story. So Sarah Straw says, the dude in Gangji paid $2 million for a quality assassination, and it was ultimately subcontracted to the 50K guy. Unreliable assassin supply chains. Shaking my head, and honestly, yeah, that's the biggest problem with China. It's why, honestly, leaving China would be for the best. It would. Because that's the garbage you're getting from China. That's why all the toys have lead in them. And they do it on purpose, too. Sarah Straw says, we'll have reached full cyberpunk dystopia when we have an Uber, but for contract killing app providing vetted and trustworthy assassins. So it's definitely a real story. It's hilarious. Loconomics says, everything is outsourcing now. And it's true. And this is something I like to bring up. What happens when all the jobs are outsourced? No one is getting hired, so who's going to buy your products? Because it's sure as hell not going to buy your products in your country. They got no money, you're not paying them. You know, there's some logic there. Oh, what a world. You know, I don't entirely disagree with this mentality. So E16S says, dying right now. Reminds me of the dev that outsourced his job while he goofed around in the net the entire day. So yeah, so there was once a US employee who outsourced his job to China where he just kicked back. Truly the Chinese mentality taken to its full extent. But you know what, my friends? That's merely the obvious. Well, that's pretty much the story. What do you guys think? What do you think about China? Do you think China's a glorious, wonderful place like LeBron James says it is? Be sure to let me know. Now, as always, my channel is not monetized. That is why I need to take sponsors and why viewer support is so important. So if you want to support me, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar for as low as $1. Doing so will get you access to Fight Club, a private Discord server. There's also PayPal and Bitcoin if you're interested. Now, as always, I thank you for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.